Hello everyone, I hope you all are doing really well. I hope you all are safe and sound. So today in this video, we are going to be talking about basic terms that we use in algebra. Now when your teacher, this is something that we have studied in grade 8, but still there are times that we need to be reminded this of kind of constantly maybe, and a teacher might use words like variables, or she could say constant, she or he, constant or coefficient. And if you are still getting confused by what these terms are, then this video is for you. So let's get started with this. So the first thing we have is variable. What is a variable? Variables are something which are unknown, and they keep changing their values. Their value keeps changing. All right. Okay, so suppose we have an expression which is 3x. It is also called 3 times x. It can also be written as 3 multiplied with x, okay? But this is the simplest way that we write 3x, which basically means 3 times x or 3 multiplied with x, okay? So our x right here, x is a variable. If I tell you 5y, y is a variable. Let me just change my color. If I tell you 6z, our z is a variable. Or if I tell you 3a, our a is a variable. 2b, b is a variable. 5c, our c is a variable. If I tell you 7 plus c, our c is again a variable. Okay, so in these ones, all of these, the alphabets are basically variable. What is the common thing that you have seen here? That the alphabets are variable. Now let me explain you how can their values be always changing. So we have our expression right here, 3 times x, okay? And suppose I have been given this question and I have to find the total value of this expression, okay? And if they have told me find the total value of this expression if x equals to 3, so means I have to substitute at the place of x I have to write 3. And if you remember, I told you 3 and x are bounded by multiplication. They both are multiplied to each other. So I'm going to write 3 times 3, which is 9. Now if suppose we don't have this, we have another question which says find the value of 3x if x equals to 5. So I have to write 3 times 5 equals 15. So as you can see, the value is changing. It is 15 and it was 9. So this x variable, if it had the value of 3 first and now it has the value of 5. So it keeps changing. That's why it is called a variable. All right. Now the next thing we have is constants. Constant is completely opposite to the variable. Constant is the one that always has the same value. And remember, variable was the one that keeps changing its value. This one always has the same value. Like, let's come back to our 3x. We have our 3x. X is our variable, right? And 3 is going to be our constant. Because even if the value of x keeps changing, the 3 won't change, right? 3 won't become a 5. It won't, because it's a constant. But x can become a 5, it can become a 6, it can become a 7, 8, 9, 10, anything. But this 3 is always going to be the same. whatever the value of x be, if x is 3, so we're just going to do 3 times 3. If x is 4, so we're just going to do 3 times 4. If x is 5, so we're just going to do 3 times 5 based on this expression right here. We are not changing the 3 here. As you can see, we are not changing the 3 here, right? It's all the same. So this right here is called a constant. There are many other forms. There are many other ways also of a constant, which I'll show you right now. Just let me erase this. The constant can also come like this, like x plus 3, or 3 is a constant. A plus 7, or 7 is a constant. Or if I tell you 18 minus 2b, or 18 is a constant and even 2 is a constant. So I hope you understood this. Okay, so the next thing we are going to study is called coefficient. So coefficient is basically what relates a variable and a constant together, and a constant. Like we have if we have an expression like 3x the whole square, or we have 5x, or we have 2y. So what are we going to say? The question for this is going to come out like this, somewhat like this. Just let me just change this color. They're going to ask us question like, the question that we can make out of is like, what is the coefficient of x square? Means what is the constant which is with the x square, and that is 3, right? So the answer is, what is the coefficient of x square? It is 3. Or if I ask you what is the coefficient of 3, so you're going to say x square. Either way, they are what relates to each other. If I ask you what belongs with 5, you're going to say x. If I ask you what belongs with x, you say 5. So this word belongs or relates is what we call coefficient. Okay, so yeah, so what are we going to make a question like this? Can you tell me what is the coefficient of y? You can pause this video and think about it. Tell me. Yes, the coefficient of y is 2. And if I ask you what is the coefficient of 2, it is y. So that's what coefficient means, okay? If while teaching my videos, if I tell you something like, if I say 2x square, if I say that coefficient of the coefficient here is 2, the numerical coefficient means the number coefficient here is 2. So you will know that I am talking about this right here, what I'm teaching you right here. Okay? Hope that's clear for you now. Alright, so the next thing I want to tell you about exponents, powers, or degrees. We call all of these names for one term, but it's this is not a part of algebra. Actually, it's a part of arithmetics, but this is something they use in algebra a lot. So like here, 3x squared. So x squared is our power, or we can also say 3 raised to 5. Okay, so 5 is our power. We call it raised 3x raised to 5, or we can also say to the power of 5. So these are terms we use in algebra as well. Next. Alright, so the second last topic is called algebraic operations. It is the same as what we use in arithmetic, which is addition, which is known as plus. Then we have subtraction, which is minus, and then we have multiplication, which is product or into, and then we have division. So how do we write this algebraic expressions? Let me just start with the addition one. So we'll write it, this one we'll write it as 3a plus b, or we can also write 5b plus x. This is called these are the terms being added. And then we can say this 3x minus y, or we can say 4x minus 2. Here, as you can see, there is a variable, and then there is a constant. And then for multiplication, we say 3 times x, which is 3x. Same here, 3x is being multiplied, and here also 3a and 5b are being multiplied right here. Okay, and here 4x is being 4 and x are being multiplied, 3 and x are being multiplied. But we can also say 3 times x times y equals gives us 3xy. And then if I tell you what is 3 times x times x, it gives us 3x. There are two x's, right? So x square. Because x into x does not give us 2x, it gives us x square. And then we have division, where we are going to do, it can be like this, 3x by y, or it could also be 3x squared by 2x. In this case right here, since there is x cube and x, I hope you must have studied this in exponents, laws of exponents, we can cut this x square. If you do not understand what I have done here, then please comment below and let me know if I should make a video on laws of exponents. Before I finish this topic, let me just tell you what would be the answer to this. Right here, last one. Since x here, x and 3 will get cancelled. Like there's one x here and there are 3 x's here. So I can cancel 1 and it will become a 2. So we'll get 3 by 2 x squared. Alright, so that's, if you do not understand this, then please comment below and let me know. And I will, this is something that we do it from laws of exponents. If you're not familiar with this, then let me know. It's one of the foundation thing in algebra. And now moving on to our last topic of the day. Right, the last topic of the day, we are going to be studying expressions, terms and equations. So first let's start with expressions. It is a group of algebraic numbers and variables with operation like 3x plus 5y or 4z plus 3b, any of that. These are all called expressions. Okay, now what are terms? Number of expressions that are separated by plus, minus, or multiplication or division, any of that. Like the terms are is the number, like how many terms are there, like how, let me write again, this 3x plus 5y. Okay, here how many terms do we have? We have 1 and 2. We have 2 expressions, so we have 2 terms. Okay, if I tell you 3x squared plus 5x plus 3c, these are 3 terms, 1, 2 and 3. So that's what we mean by terms. And then we have lastly equations. Equations are separated, like they're expressions that are separated by equal sign. Which means if I write 3x plus 5y equals 2. So this right here is called an equation, and that's what we studied about linear equation, quadratic equation, all of that. It has an equal sign right here. Okay, so this is the video about, this is what we have studied so far. We have studied about the terminology that we use in algebra. So in conclusion, we have studied about variables, okay, where we have 3x, 3y, 4z, where the alphabet is our variable. Then we have studied about constants, where the number is called constant. And then we have studied about coefficient, where we talk about the relation between the constant and a variable. And then we have studied about exponents, where we talk about the powers or the raised to thing. And then we have studied about expression, terms, and equation. If there's anything that I have missed out, then please comment below and let me know, or you can email us and you can let me know. I'll make sure to do on that. So let me just give you a brush up on expressions, terms and equations again. Suppose these are called expressions and the number of them are called terms. There are 2 terms, so we call them 2 terms. And if there is an equal, so it becomes an equation. Alright? So see you again. Bye. Take care.